start setting up our first sweep. So a couple of things I noticed walking on, some of the questions I had were cross collar grip to the same side. Yeah, I prefer cross collar. I feel like I'm more settled. Another thing I saw from a couple of people was when your arm or your grip is down low, there's more give, more space in here than it is if it's up high. So I like to get up high, bring my palm towards the ceiling, and really kind of curl my grip. All right, so I'm not really straight armed out here so much as bringing him in. Okay, I feel like this is stronger. All right, so we're going to set up our first sweep. The first sweep we're going to do here is very similar to the scissor sweep from guard. All right, so this is what it looks like. So to break it down, starting in our home base here, okay, this is going to be our starting position for everything we do today. The first thing I'm going to do here is take this kickstand away. So I'm just gripping the pants, okay? And then I'm going to take the other one away on the same side, which is the sleeve. I like to do the pants first most of the time because typically this guy doesn't like that, right? So if I try to find the sleeve right now, it could be anywhere. He might reach back, hide it, whatever. If I grip the pants and I know he likes to attack that because he doesn't like this, I know where the hand's going to be. All right? I don't have to fish for it. So I'm waiting for it. As soon as I grab the pants, I'm watching that wrist. As soon as it gets close, right on the sleeve, okay? And now I'm pulling, like a cross grip. All right? Taking those two kickstands away, and then my shield just becomes my lever to take him over. I'm just trying to put this shoulder on the mat. Now you notice when I took him over, I didn't just sit straight up. If I'm here and I just come up, all I'm doing now is putting myself in the same position he was just in, the same position I was just in. Right? So I have his sleeve very easily when we grip mine. Yep, grab my hand from the outside here. Now we take it in. Now we're at the lead in the desert. So we want to avoid that. So we get up technically. I start here, get my first grip. I wait for him to look for that. I'm patient, there he is. I grab it, and I take him over. And when I do, the other thing I have to worry about is to put this foot in it and start attacking single leg X, foot locks, all that stuff, okay? So, when I take this sleeve here, I'm gonna pin it to the floor, and I'm just gonna surf across to the other side, all right? So this leg straight is straight, and I'm using this as my pivot point to just push myself across. I'm staying heavy on his hips as I get to the other side here. And then I just free the leg, kind of like this reverse testing. Keeping the sleeve here. First grip, reach forward, second grip, take it over, surf to the other side. Okay, so my square up. More comfortable in a traditional side control. I want to see it again. Yeah. Home base. Just kind of chunk this a little bit. Ribs. Sweep. Circle. Next step is just to free the leg. Good?
The leg in between.
Yeah.
Sweeping, is that scissoring back or you it's pretty much just using the leg that
I don't normally worry about it until the end. If I'm heavy on his hips, he's going to hard out. I can kind of keep it in the middle. I'm not really doing much with it except if I'm heavy on the hips and I have this pant grip still, when I get to the other side, I'm not too worried about him like closing up his half guard and trapping. I usually have like a good leverage here to just keep his legs open. It's usually pretty easy to free here. Once I free it, I got to make sure I make a good kickstand out of it, okay? So don't be lazy and just kind of drop it on the other side. It's got to go back here. If it doesn't, I'm just going to get swept over. Good question. Anybody else? All right. so a little bit of troubleshooting, just some of the things that I saw that were kind of like common questions. So a lot of people, they got their grips and they had trouble taking them over. They were kind of getting them like halfway, but not making the shoulder touch the mat. Couldn't get that topple effect. So some of the things that we do to adjust this is, first is, again, make sure we're not flat on the mat. We want to be on our side. The second is I want all the tension taken or added to the arm. I don't want any looseness here. So I'm really like hiding this hard in my pocket, all right? And then the last thing I do is just kind of extend my shoulders away from him, okay? So right now his weight is very centered. When I go like this, he's got a lot more tilt to him. Do you feel like there's more weight on this side? So now the kick over is much easier. Yeah. But if every move worked in jiu-jitsu, that's all we would ever do, right? So we're gonna have plan B now. So we get everything done right, and we go for the first sweep, and I can't make it work, all right? So if you guys, I think everybody's in Christian's class, right? So what's he doing? He's leaning his weight away, okay? And sometimes he's like putting his hand on my hip and making a frame, all right? He's doing the things that he talked about yesterday to prevent sweeps. So what we're gonna do is look for the sweep to this side, and when we can't make it work, we're gonna come back the other way. Okay. The more we do to sell the initial sweep, the easier it will be to do the secondary sweep. Okay, we're just fighting in the opposite direction. The more pressure I put over to this side, the harder he has to push back in the opposite direction. So then I'm going to take him in that direction. Okay, so I'm doing that just by pulling the sleeve, and I'm loading all of his weight onto my shin here, onto the shield, and then using the shield to take him over. And when I do, I need to do it hard because I need him to post his free hand. Okay. The more his hand posts here, the less likely it's going to be back there, which is the direction I'm ultimately going to go. So if I go slow here, he doesn't need to post. He can put it wherever he wants. So then when I try to finish, he blocks. So it's important when I pick to the other side, I do it with, okay. So from here, if you get stuck, I couldn't ride his momentum up. I'm just standing on the base. Keep the sleeve. From the beginning, we're in home base again, right? Get my grips. I go for my first sweep, he stops it. Okay? Made him put his hand on the mat. I'm using this knee shield just to kick him away. The inside leg isn't doing a whole lot for this sweep. I just want to make sure it's enough that I keep the leg hooked. So I don't need to pinch necessarily, but I can't have it so shallow that it's coming out. So as long as I have it across his calf, that's good enough. Any other questions? You want to see it again? Yeah. Base, grips. Good. All right, so I give you two sweeps. Now we're going to do a submission. Okay. This is our Bravo choke. So again, we're back here at home base. All right. So the first thing I want to do here is free up this lapel. This is going to be a lapel choke. So I'm going to take my free hand and pull this out, okay? And I want to start to feed it to the back here a little bit, and I'm going to re-grip it, all right? When I re-grip it, I don't want to just let go of the head and look for it, okay? Because I'm just going to posture up and create that space that we talked about, him not wanting him to have. So I'm going to replace my hands. So I'm going to feed this to the back, grab it with the opposite hand, and then capture the head. So the whole time that I'm moving around here, I'm still controlling his posture at all times. Find the lapel here, and I'm going to feed it to this hand. Okay? Tight. I don't want any slack where he can circle his head out. Okay? So I grip it deep here. The knee shield is really good because it maintains this space between us that I can now set up my hand position for my choke. So the first hand's coming inside, just kind of like I'm throwing an uppercut. So like my palm's facing up here. And I'm gripping this lapel. If it's a long lapel, don't make the mistake of like feeding it down low, all right? I want to like wrap my hand around the back of his neck here and get as deep as I can. Here, and this handle is keeping his posture. See how bent he is? Okay, this is really good for me. So now I'm gonna find the extra fabric back here. Usually there's a piece of the tail line there. There we go. So that's what I want right here. So everything's held nice and tight. Sometimes this guy wants so badly to have his posture, he starts to kind of look up at the ceiling. Remember this concept that we talked about with guard passing? And that's what allows me to loop my hand over his head. And then the last thing I got to do here to finish is kick my leg so it's not in the way anymore. And I want to bring the crown of his head to my sternum. Okay. This is called a Bravo choke. So again, home base, I free the lapel. I switch hands just so I can, again, keep his posture broken the whole time. I feed it to the top hand. And now this is my grip, keeping his posture away. Palm up grip, deep as I can get it. Second hand's looking for that little piece of extra corner right here. Now, another little trick I like is, if he's been here before, he's not going to look up. All right, so what I'm gonna start to do here is to bring the hand to the other side. And now I'm choking his face, which I don't want. So I'm gonna use the knee, and I'm gonna be a little bit rude here. I'm gonna push his chin up. All right, and that gives me like enough space here so that when I kick it out, I end up on his neck instead of his face. All right, so this knee is just kind of like pushing his head towards the ceiling a little bit. It's rude, but it's effective. Let's spin here a little bit, show the other side. My grips are the lapel. Switch the hands. Capture the head. Controlling the posture with the grip. And then switching hands. Find the extra corner on the other side, and if I'm not under the chin, I use my knee to push it up, and I kick the leg out, because if it's still between us, I don't have the angle I need. I'm not getting underneath the chin. So by removing that and now filling the void with his head, that's how the choke finishes. All right, one more time. Any questions?
When you pull his gi down, it's like a pulling away motion like this.
Sort of, yes. So one of the common mistakes when this is a new choke for you is flaring the elbow.
Yeah.
It actually weakens the grip and it opens up the space a little bit.
Right.
So instead, what I'm doing is I'm keeping my elbows close to my ribs, and by pulling it down is what makes it tighter.
Okay.
Good question. Any other questions? All right, let's go. So we're going to set up the first choke. Okay? Same thing we just did. A lot of times when we go for this finish here, we get the defense we typically get for the X choking, that the hand comes inside between my two arms here, right? So I can't finish. Even if I push the knee up, the forearm is in the way, okay? So we're gonna go for plan B here. So I'm gonna let go of this grip and find that sleeve, all right? So I know where it is. It's tucked in. I don't have to go find it. It's blocking this choke. I'm gonna let go with this hand and find the sleeve, okay? And I'm gonna pull it across and let go of my knee at the same time. So I'm kicking the leg straight like we did at the last finish and pulling this across. And then everything comes tight in here. And this is the one time where actually I'm going to come to my back. All right? And then hug the head for the finish. Okay. Now the reason that I'm coming to my back on this one is if I stay here on my side, when I let go of the wrist for the finish, is the angle to pull the arm out, all right? But by rolling to my back, now my chest is behind his tricep here. So it's stuck because I'm eliminating space. And then I just hug the head for the finish. So it's very similar to the first choke. The setup is exactly the same in fact. It's just that when I get to the end, I get stuck. Alright? So I'm just grabbing the sleeve and pulling it across. Hug the head for the finish. Angle. Do we have any questions? Okay, let's go. Thank you very much for your attention today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I'm around for open mats if you have any more like troubleshooting or questions about the stuff we went over today or anything else for that matter. I love questions. I love the learn from you guys just as much. So yeah, grab me on the open mat, and if you don't mind, a quick photo before we head out. Thanks.